Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be switching things up. We're going back to the kind of content I used to shoot back in the day. I showed you how I created this makeup look for wedding season, which is kind of like soon, to be honest. So I wanted to do something which was still glam but felt very light on the face. There's actually not too much going on the skin, so it's a little bit better for hot weather. I really hope that you enjoy this video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, drop me a comment, and I hope you enjoy. Mwah! Right? Subscribe! So, this is basically what we're going to be doing. So we're going to start with the eyes. Oh my god, it's so hot. It's literally like 20 something degrees today. It's unbelievable. And I don't know why I choose today to do like literally a full face, but do you know what? There's a lack of logic when it comes to me, and we're just going to keep it stepping, to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my eyelids, and I used the TooFaced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in the shade Natural Beige. This is always my go-to when I want to do a like full glam eye look. So I take a partially damp beauty blender, nothing too damp when I'm setting my eyelids because I just find it makes it harder. And I'm just going to make sure I cover the entire span where we could potentially be putting eyeshadow, because you want to make sure that we have one even texture and one even base across from one side of the eye to the other without missing any parts, because otherwise blending is going to be a nightmare and it's going to be hella patchy. And then I'm going to set it straight away with my Mercier translucent powder. And I don't want my eyelids to get too dry, so I'm not baking it, but I'm just pushing the powder into the skin to make sure that it's going to set any creases, because otherwise the creases are going to come through later on the makeup, and let me just say, it's not cute. Oh my days, it's so hot in here. Oh, my skin's going to go red. Oh my god, I'm actually going to go red. I can see it now. Now we're going to start with my... Oh my god, it's been so long since I've done like a colourful eye makeup look. This feels really weird. My 3503 Fierce by Nature Morphe palette, which is this one over here, and I'm gonna take this green, this one, which is, it's just basically like a light green and it's matte, and I'm gonna take that on a very fluffy brush, and I'm gonna tap off excess and go straight into my crease with a very light hand. And I'm taking it quite high up, but not all the way, because I like to have a gap where my skin colour sort of shows before my brow starts, as you can see on this side. And just go outer corner all the way to the inner corner. And this is now your limit as to how high you're going to take all the shadows. Nothing is going to go higher than this colour. So you want to make sure it's nicely blended towards the top. Now we're going to leave that there, and I'm going to take my Back to Brazil palette from BH Cosmetics. It's kind of messy, so just allow me. And I'm going to take this sort of dark forest green, which is sort of like the main sort of colour that we are going to be working with. So I'm not going to lie, I really don't like the formula of these eyeshadows, but it's got a lot of staple colours, which is why I use it. If I had this kind of colour in a different palette, best believe I would use it from a different palette. I would not use it from this. So just sort of keep that in mind. It's just a lot harder to blend, a lot harder to work with. They're very powdery. So yeah, not the best in the world. So you want to be really patient if you are using this particular shadow. So with these ones, I don't swipe, I tap. You can see I'm not sort of doing that motion. I'm packing on the colour, because otherwise the colour just does not stay with these shadows. Anyway, you want to take it all the way, inner corner to outer corner, and make sure you're really packing it on so you've got maximum pigment. And extend it all the way out. You kind of want to go, slot the brush into your eye socket so it goes just slightly above but nothing crazy, and that's kind of the right placement that you should be aiming for. Okay, now I am going to take the first brush that we used and lightly blend that transition, bearing in mind that it's gonna brush off some of the colour that we've just packed on because of these shadows, which just are so jarring, but you've got to work with what you've got. You just want to blend that transition a little bit so it's a bit softer. And then I'm going back in and packing over the areas where the shadow has sort of lessened. Okay, now we're going to pause on that. And I'm going to take my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and I'm going to take this shade, which doesn't look like a green, but it is. It's this one over here. It's actually a really, really, really dark green. So I'm just going to take that on a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm just going to put it at the bottom. So this is going to be the darkest colour that we're going to use for reference. And then I'm slowly sort of feathering the colour just above my crease, because you want to sort of make a line with it. Very, very, very lightly. If it's a bit messy underneath, it's fine. You want to make sure the blend is nice from the crease upwards. That's the most important part. Okay. And then it should look something like this. Now I'm going to go back in with the BH Cosmetics shade. Add a little bit more to the bottom outer corner. Just sort of pack on a little bit more here. Okay. Now I'm going to take my Kryolan HD cream liner in the shade Snow. It's basically like a white gel eyeliner, but when I'm doing a colourful eye, this is what I like to use instead of concealer when I'm cutting the crease. Now the only thing is, just keep in mind it's a very stiff product, so you need to sort of warm it up a little bit on the back of your hand. So I've put some here, and I'm just sort of like doing this with the brush, just so it's a little bit more soft in consistency, so it's a little easier to use. Now I'm taking this flat brush and get my mirror, and I'm going to start basically half cutting the crease. So I'm sort of stopping it in a diagonal shape, as you can sort of see, like that. And I'm going to try to fade it as much as possible, but it's a very thick formula, so it's not necessarily going to be the easiest thing to blend out, but that's fine, we can work around that. Okay, so I'm going to stop that there. By the way, I had to open the window because it's just way too hot in here and I can't cope. Also, look at the state of my hand, but that's a problem for later. Anyway, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little brush, which is fluffy but quite refined, and I'm going to take my Morphe 39L Hit the Lights palette, and oh my god, I just dropped it. Okay, we're just going to pray that nothing is smashed. We're good, guys, we're good, nothing smashed. Whew. Right, okay, I'm going to take this shade over here. It looks really different in the pan to like actually on, but it's this sort of like whitish silvery shade. So I'm going to take that and basically pack it in to sort of like the inner... Why does that look different? Oh my days, why does that colour look different? It looks darker now. Oh my god, why does it look different? That's literally the same one I used. Okay, I'm going to use the one slightly above it instead because this is scaring me. It's sort of like a whitish, silvery, goldish shade. That was the worst description, but we're going to have to work with it. And I'm just going to pat it on to kind of actually more like the first half, I guess you could say, of the eye. Like that. And then I'm going to take this brush, which is a similar shape but less fluffy, and I'm going to take it in the same colour and just use it to go along the edges because I want it to be really precise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in with that Back to Brazil palette because, as predicted, some has sort of come off here, which is great, sense the sarcasm. So I'm going to pack that back on, and then I'm going to take, where is it? This kind of flat brush, and I'm going to use my Juvias Place Masquerade. I'm using like a million palettes in this, I'm just realising. Juvias Place Masquerade palette, and I'm taking the shade, I can't even read it because there is powder all over it. Mali, which is, oh my god, this is a bit of a mess, isn't it? This shimmery green shade, and my lighting is flickering. Oh my god, this bare patch is really annoying me. I might need to fix that first. Okay, I'm going to take some white base. This is a bit of an experiment, by the way. How did this take a left turn? Okay, let's go back in with that green. Hope that it will go over the little bold spot. Aw, bold spot. And now I'm going to take another brush, and I'm going to take my Beauty Bay Identity palette, and I'm going to take this sort of lime green shimmery shade, and I'm going to use that to bridge the gap between the sort of whitish colour and the shimmery green that we've used. So this is going to basically blend the two together. And remember to continue doing it in this sort of diagonal direction. That's basically going to help your eyes look more like that cat eye shape. Okay, now we need to sort out this patchy mess over here. So I'm going to go back in with, where is it? Where is it? Oh my god, where's the brush? Oh, it's right here. I'm going to go back in with the really dark green that we used because that has like basically completely disappeared. And we are going to basically smoke out the outer corner. So you want to start it from the bottom outer corner where you're going to have the most concentrated product. And gradually blend it upwards. And remember the diagonal shape. I'm also going to go in with a bit of that Beauty Bay green and pack that on. I'm literally going to throw this palette out. It's such a mess. Like that BH Cosmetics palette is a nightmare. So for lashes, I'm basically just using anything I have which is really wispy. Yeah, that's basically the only criteria, just something wispy. Mine are just random ones from Amazon, but they have been discontinued now, which I'm sorry about because I know that's really, really annoying. But there are so many which are sort of like similar. You just want anything wispy. So I basically went in with my micellar water and cleansed like my entire face because there was green just everywhere. So now I'm gonna just re-moisturize. So I'm gonna go with my SPF again. This is my Bondi Sands SPF 50 Plus for the face, fragrance free. And it's really moisturizing, so I love it. And I'm just gonna take it all over. It's already on my forehead and as is a little bit of foundation, so I'm not gonna take it up there. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit of primer, mainly just sort of like on my nose area where my makeup sort of tends to come off. So I'm going to use my e.l.f. Mineral Infused Face Primer. If you're attending a wedding and you're going to have to wear masks at some point and you don't want it to ruin your makeup and you need it to withstand this heat, I'm telling you, use this primer. So I'm just going to wait for that to settle in a little bit, and in the meantime I'm going to get my foundation mix ready because I'm never simple with foundations, I have to mix. I never use one straight. So, my go-to combo at the moment, which I really like because it's light, but does the trick, is my IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better foundation, and this is the shade 32, but this is a bit too light for me, especially as I'm now starting to tan. So I do need to pick up my right shade, but in the meantime, I'm just sort of doing a mixing situation. So I'm mixing that with my Missguided Beauty foundation in the shade 15. And this combo, guys, is my life at the moment. Like, I love it so much. And I don't really want to use too much if I can avoid it, because obviously a wedding in this heat, you want, the less you wear on your actual face, the better. So I'm gonna mix it and go straight in. This is my Smashbox, what's this called? Blurring foundation brush. Yeah, full coverage blurring foundation brush. So because I'm going to be going in with concealer and things, I don't really need to put that much foundation too high up. So I'm going to concentrate it mainly on the bottom half of my face, remembering to drag it down the neck, because we all know what happens when we don't do that. We've all done it before, and it's never cute. I think that'll do for foundation. I think that's all right. Okay, now I'm going to do what's normally next for me. Oh my god, is there green on my forehead? Don't tell me I got green on my forehead. I got green on my forehead. Oh my god, I got green on my forehead. Next, I am going to cream contour, but I'm not going to do much cream contouring because I just want to use as little products on my face as possible. So I'm going to use my LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade, I want to say Espresso. No, it's not. Toast. Espresso is darker. This is in Toast. And I'm going to wait a little bit for that to sit. And I'm going to blend it out with my Revolution Makeup Revolution. Okay, this doesn't have a number, which is really, really helpful. It's basically just a fluffy but sort of stubby brush. Do you see what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to take my under eye corrector. So my fave is actually really sad because it's not even being discontinued. BECCA overall as a brand is like, it's going into liquidation, I think. So I'm going to need to find a substitute because this thing is like my life and I don't know how I'm going to do my makeup without it when I eventually run out. So this is the BECCA Under Eye Brightening Corrector in the shade Medium to Deep. And I'm going to just use a very little amount and use it just to brighten up my under eyes before I go in with concealer. Concealer, right, so I'm going to take the same concealer that we used to prime the eyelids, which is the TooFaced one in the shade Natural Beige, and I'm just going to go in the usual areas, I think. So let's put it there, down the sides of the nose, and what should I do with the eyes? I think, alright, so we'll obviously do some over here. I don't know why I'm narrating extra today. This is actually quite unnecessary. And I'm going to clean up just a little bit over there. Okay, and now we wait. Actually, I feel like I want more concealer. Now we wait. And in the meantime, I'm going to take this Nudestix, what is this? Nudestix Matte Blush in Sunset Strip. And I'm going to take it on a little brush. And I'm just going to apply it up here. And then I can sort of like blend my concealer into it and reapply blush after if I need to. I feel like this is such a summery colour, and mixed with the green, I feel like it's so summery. I love it. I think the colours complement each other so nice, like a corally shade for blush, because orange and green always look so gorgeous together. And then just start blending it out. And this is about to be some really, really unflattering angles and face pulling, so just prepare yourself. Now I'm just going to make sure there's no creases directly under my eyes, and then I'm going to set it with my Laura Mercier powder. I'm just going to take my little concealer brush and I'm just going to blend out this transition a little bit to make it a bit softer between the nose contour and the concealer. I'm going to take my Anastasia cream contour kit and I'm going to take the beige shade, which is called Cream, and a tiny little sort of like eyeliner brush, and just going to use it to like highlight the center of my nose. And then I'm going to take my Morphe E15 brush and I'm just going to push the product in, sort of not moving it around, but just blending it out. I'm going to go in with more of my Laura Mercier powder on the sponge and we're going to just finish setting. So I'm going to go along the sides of my nose and just sort of lightly bake. Then I'm going to take a little bit more of that blush and just apply it before we powder the cheek area. Okay, now I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to go in with Laura Mercier powder and just set the rest of this sort of area where we've concealed. And I'm just going to powder the center of my nose as well. I'm just going to use like a smaller brush so we've got a little bit more precision. And then straight away sort of brush that off. Okay, now I'm just going to do my general powdering really. So in this heat, yeah, I don't hold back. I do not hold back. So just going to go to the usual areas. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sponge, and I don't really feel like I need to put concealer there, but just to even out the colour, I'm going to put just a little bit and blend it out with the sponge. I reckon let's set the rest of the cheek area. So I'm going to use my BH Studio Pro Matte Finish Pressed Powder in the shade 235, which is supposed to be a powder, but I use it as like a bronzer, really, because it's quite subtle, which I like. And I'm just going to take this number 7 brush. I don't even think it has a number or anything. And I'm just going to lightly, very, very lightly, sort of like tap to add some colour and just sort of bronze a little bit. I don't want to do any sort of like harsh contouring or anything because the eyes are very harsh, so I want the skin to be a little bit softer so it doesn't look like too crazy. I'm going to take my NYX Sweet Cheeks palette, and this is the shade, it doesn't have a name, don't know why I thought it had a name. It's like the corally shade. I'm just going to lightly dust that, sort of like in this sort of motion. So it's still going to give us the facelift effect by applying it in this sort of direction. I'm going to take a little bit more of my Laura Mercier powder. How many times have I said that? Because this powder is literally like the centre of all universe when it comes to my makeup. I'm just going to clean up a little bit. Okay, now I feel like we urgently need to finish the eyes because it's bugging me a lot. I just want to smoke it out really. I just want to smoke out the lower lash line. So I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics palette and I'm going to go in with that forest green. And I'm going to concentrate this on like the outer corner of my eyes. Just going to sort of feather it. Oh, I like that. Okay, so I'm just going to slowly fade it about halfway. And then I'm going to take a slightly more precise brush and I'm going to go in with the darkest green that we used. And And we're just going to do that right in the corners. Oh my god, the eyes look absolutely huge. Okay, now I'm going to take mascara. This is the NYX On The Rise mascara. Okay, so mascara is now done. Now it's time for highlighter. I know a lot of people have kind of gone off highlighter, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I need highlighter. I feel like it just... It's alright, didn't break. I feel like it just shapes the face. I feel like my makeup just isn't done until I've done it, you know? So I'm going to take my Morphe M451 brush, and this is the BECCA Loose Champagne Pop Highlighter. And I'm going to go into the usual places. I'm not going to go too heavy, but just a little bit of something. And now I'm also going to apply some highlighter in my inner corners, but I'm going to wet the brush first with this Cover FX setting spray. So I'm going to wet the little brush and then do brow bone and inner corners. Okay, now I'm just going to spray my face with that setting spray, and then it's just the lip and the rest of the fit and the hair, because Lord knows we need a lot of help with this right now. So I'm literally dying with how hot it is, but it's time to do the lips. So I'm going to take my NYX Intimidate lip liner and we're going to line the lips. Now I'm going to take my Morphe lipstick in the shade Commit, which is like a nude, and I'm going to dab it. And that is the finished look. I really hope that you enjoyed this makeup tutorial, and if you want to see more like this, just let me know and I will definitely get on it for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Stay safe, stay positive, stay smiling, and I will see you next time. Mwah. Bye guys.